We move on now to developments in the property sector, particularly the luxury residential market that is said to be booming. It's reported that properties in the category are selling faster and at a higher price than before, with Cape Town leading the pack. But there are pitfalls, and MD at Elite Risk Acceptances, Tarina Vlok, joins us to expand on all these developments. Thank you so much for your time, Tarina. Let me first really ask about where this boom in the luxury property market is coming from, because what we know about the South African consumers that we are cash strapped. So are we getting international buyers? What type of setup is behind this boom?
Good morning, Tumi. Thank you. I believe that the target market, or the clients who are in the market for luxury properties, are probably more resilient. But the stats show that around 20%, especially in the Cape Town Atlantic seaboard, of property buyers are foreigners. So it seems like it's foreign investment that's contributing to this trend.
And that's a positive, Tarina, on the side of developments in South Africa's property market. But at what margin is it that contributing factor that is seen contrasting of the negativity that we often speak about?
Look, I can only speak for short-term insurance, so I wouldn't like to go onto a speculative route.
Understood on that front, but there are pitfalls, as you've rightly noted there, with regards to this particular sector of property. What are those pitfalls, and as a buyer, what should one be looking out for?
Yeah, I think some of the most important pitfalls, especially for foreign buyers, is to ensure that you contract local brokers to advise on your insurance, to understand the local market, to make sure that your property is insured for its replacement value and not for the market value or what you've paid for it. And then, very importantly, is to ensure that the property is inspected by a professional company before you sign on the dotted line.
And would you say that there are common trends when it comes to insurance and making sure that your luxury property is aligned with what you are signing on the dotted line for?
I think the most common trend, we find that there's a huge margin of underinsurance in the market. That should be your first consideration. Look, if you buy a house for 25 million rand and you are underinsured by 10%, if there's a fire that destroys that house, you're going to be out of pocket by at least 2.5 million rand. So that is a very important thing. And another thing that we see is that people buy properties and that there were alterations or renovations done. The place looks beautiful, but then many of these weren't done in accordance with regulations. And then it's very difficult for insurers to reinstate a property. So that's why I really recommend that these properties are inspected before you buy them.
And that is a crucial point, that inspection, because in South Africa you do find that when properties are evaluated, we have issues of maybe squatter camps, informal settlements rather, that would spring up, or rather issues around the likes of load shedding, the impact of that on a household, as well as water supply matters. To what extent does that factor into what a home buyer needs to look into, especially in aligning all that with an insurance policy for that particular property?
There's a huge trend, especially with the increase in load shedding, to move to backup systems and maybe even moving off the grid. Now, these are expensive installations, so it's important to ensure that you check with your insurer that these are covered, that you've got cover for power surges and how much cover you have, and also, of course, that these are included in your sum insured to ensure that you're not out of pocket.
Thank you so much for your insights. Tarina Vlok is MD at Elite Risk, talking to us about this boom in the luxury property market, but as well as the pitfalls that come with all of that. I wonder really which part of the South African consumer public is able to talk about luxury properties at this point, but a worthy conversation nonetheless. That's